You know, I had a different idea for what I was going to record today. I was going to talk about trade rumors and stuff. And funny enough, Terry Rozier was one of the ones that I was going to talk about and his possibility of going to the Heat. But instead, here we are. Honestly, this is better though, because now I can just talk about this and I can talk about the trade rumors later in the week. But yeah, so Terry Rozier is on the move. This is a bigger deal than I think maybe the average fan would consider. To summarize the trade, Terry Rozier is on his way to the Miami Heat in exchange for Kyle Lowry and a 2027 first round pick that's lottery protected. And if that pick doesn't convey that year, it'll convey in 2028 as an unprotected pick. All right, so let's talk about Charlotte first, since we don't really need to talk about them quite as much with this move. So they looked at Terry Rozier and said, this is an all-time high for his value. He's probably not a part of our future. We've got a lot of building we have to do. LaMelo's been out a lot of this season. Mark Williams been out a lot of this season. I believe they've both played like 19 games when I was looking earlier. But if we take a look at Rozier's stats here, thanks to Basketball Reference, 23 points a game, 6 assists. This is a high for him in points and assists. Turnovers are relatively the same too, which is nice. And you're getting 36% on a high volume of 3-point opportunities, and the most important one being like his pull-up shooting numbers. And so we take a look at like that number specifically from pull-up, and I believe pull-up also counts, at least on NBA.com, as shots that are like considered step backs as well. So take that into consideration as well. But he's shooting almost 40% from there. That's awesome. The catch and shoot numbers are down, which isn't what you want to see for him going to a team like Miami. But anyway, like he's historically a lot better. So I like to imagine if you put Terry Rozier on a better team, a lot of times, especially when there's a high like value of culture there, things like that, the little intangible things usually find a way to creep back up to their average. Yeah, Charlotte sees him as an all-time high in value right now, not part of the future. Let's move on from him now. They got Kyle Lowry, who they say they're going to try to flip again. That's probably going to be tough to do. I don't know exactly what you're doing for that. Maybe he's used in more of a salary dump move or something like that. Maybe somebody has a contract where it's like 2 seasons or something that they're paying someone a decent amount. Think about Davis Bertans, like the past couple seasons, was a guy that everybody wanted to move. And so maybe he gets moved somewhere there and gets bought out that way, so they don't have to pay him over like 2 years or something, and they can acquire like another draft pick for taking on whoever XYZ player is. That's probably the only way they do it. Otherwise, they buy him out, because I can guarantee you Kyle Lowry doesn't want to play there. But then they got a pretty good draft pick too. I know some people were thinking that they were going to get Jovic in the deal, but like I think that was probably being a bit generous to get a guy like Jovic, at least someone that at least the Heat see some potential in, right? Someone that they grow. They take a lot of value in growing those guys. And so you got a first round pick though. Like you're getting a for sure first round pick out of it, which is nice. You're going to get that pick eventually. It's going to come down the line or something, but the Heat's window, at least, they always find a way to make a new window, right? But at least the present window is probably closed, if not closing by then, like Jimmy Butler's efficiency by 2027, 2028. Who knows what he looks like? Maybe he's just such a mad player that it just continues, but I'd find that hard to believe. So Charlotte, you're going to get the flexibility to acquire some more draft capital, maybe some other young assets or something like that, and you got a first round pick, right? For a guy that this was the best time to trade him. All right, so now let's talk about the Heat a little bit with this. If we look right here, Terry Rozier instantly comes in and he's their leading scorer, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if that continues. Terry Rozier's always been very aggressive in the scoring column. Obviously Tyler Hero is where that falls right now. He hasn't played the entire season, but you've got 3 20-point scores on there. You're adding a fourth, and most importantly, you're adding a ball handler. You look down this roster, it was Lowry, and then that is about it as far as like ball handlers. They try to have Tyler Hero do it sometimes, and I just don't think he can read the game well enough. I don't think his handle's quite tight enough. He's not like quick enough to beat somebody like off the dribble like that. Like, don't get me wrong, it happens, but I don't see him as being a real ball dominant player. Jimmy can do it when necessary, but you finally have a true point guard on this roster, right? You have a starting caliber point guard and a guy that can go off for 30 points any given night. And most importantly, like we've seen, like I said, we've seen in the past him play with other guards, right? He did it with the Celtics and guys that were very ball dominant. He did it in Charlotte with LaMelo and stuff like that. And even when they had what's his name? The dude that was he's on the Pelicans now. I can't remember his Devonte Graham. Yeah, when Devonte Graham was like going off and everything, it took me a while to remember his name and everything. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember like the one season he just like went off and then just it didn't happen anymore? Yeah, Terry figures to come in as an instant starter, right? He's a guy that can run the pick and roll with Bam. He's a good enough pick and roll scorer and navigator to do that. He's going to have some shooting around him. That's good. And this is a Miami Heat team that usually works with very little talent, right? I mean, last year it was Lowry and Gabe Vincent, and we see like how good Gabe Vincent probably really is now that he's not on the Heat. So you bring in a guy that's like actually like an NBA 20-point a game scorer, and that makes all the difference. And I'd be willing to bet he fits the culture of the Heat. He's got a lot of attitude to him. There's a reason they call him Scary Terry. That's just going to play well in Miami. But I see it as a great fit for them. They're not giving up a ton to get it. I'm sure they miss Lowry and the leadership and everything that he brought. But no, this is great. And I'm sure Terry Rozier is just happy to be on a competitive basketball team again. It's got to seem like an eternity playing in Charlotte for that long, man. And it's just so much discombobulation in that organization at all times. Now you're coming to like the organization of organizations in basketball in the Miami Heat. So currently the Heat are in the 6th seed right now. It looks like they're 2 games, so that's kind of where the gap takes place in the Eastern Conference, is right there between 5 and 6. So do I think this puts them above a team like the Knicks and Cavs? It's like not on paper, no, but this is the Miami Heat we're talking about. Like we all saw what happened last year and everything. Like this is a move where they literally just got a much better player than what they had going for them. So I like the fit and everything. I think this makes the Heat better. At the end of the day, nobody wants to play the Heat in the playoffs because Coach Spo is there, Jimmy's there, and they just added another dog to the team. But let me know what you guys think. I think this is a really awesome trade. Glad to see Scary Terry on a better team, and I just always like seeing the Heat do well and everything, even though I'm a Bulls fan and the Heat used to terrorize me as a kid and everything. I think this is awesome. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll see y'all later.